Okay, now I can say greetings from the great state of Texas. Actually, you know what? I am in Texas. Howdy from the great state of Texas. So yesterday was quite a day. You know, it has been said that for every door that closes, another one opens. And that really could not have rung more true than I imagined. Because while we got here, obviously later than we would have wanted, what wound up happening, specifically on my way to Houston, was totally worth the trouble. And I wouldn't, this is something I wouldn't normally say with trust, but this was legit worth the trouble. In fact, that's actually my high. I mean, yeah, my low is obviously, we didn't get here as soon as we would have liked, but what can you do? And my act of kindness was, last night we had the rehearsal dinner and I had to help set up and put stuff away. I'll talk about that in a minute, but actually, you know what, let me figure one thing first. I'm not actually, there we go. Yeah, that's better. I feel like this is like my bed is like right behind, like I'm sitting on my bed right now. I don't think I've ever done a video where I'm on my bed before, or any bed that I happen to be sleeping on. Okay, I'm not gonna do that. I was gonna do something totally stupid and be like, ladies. No, I'm not doing that though. No, this is neither the time nor place. So, before I get to my NFL picks, that's why I'm wearing the jersey, and you know I need to talk about a few things. First of all, the rehearsal dinner went amazing. You know, it was great. You know, I helped set up. It was like a barn that's near the wedding venue later today, and for dinner we had you know, we're in Texas. You gotta have barbecue, and man, it was a good barbecue. Holy cow! We had like pulled pork. We had hot links. We had brisket. There was cream corn, coleslaw, potato salad, onions, and actually, it sounds like a lot of food, but there was white bread for you to make sandwiches with it. I didn't have any of the white bread though. That means I could have more meat and veggies. That was good. Even though the vegetables really consisted of, potato salad, you know, potatoes are vegetables. You know, coleslaw, that's like, you know, cabbage and carrots and stuff like that. That's got vegetables in it. And then I had some raw onions. I love onions. So, yeah, plus, you know, there was dessert. Really, it was just in the form of like a bunch of store-bought cookies and ice cream. But they were the good kind of store-bought cookies and ice cream. The kind of cookies are like maybe a little bit smaller than this, kind of. And they come like different varieties, like oatmeal raisin and double chocolate chunk. But whenever I see those, there's one cookie I always look out for. And that is white chocolate macadamia. That is my thing. That is my jam, okay? White chocolate macadamia. Ooh, actually, okay, peas macarons. Make that into a macaron. You're welcome. Okay, actually, Olive Company. Make that into a scented candle. White chocolate macadamia. I want to see that happen. That'd be really cool. Okay, so everything was fine. There was also some ice cream, although for a while we couldn't find any spoons for the ice cream. Don't ask how that happened. Yeah, we're in Texas. There was a lot of country music. We have, you know, dancing. It was fun, and I made the stupid decision not to bring a coat with me last night because, you know, we're in Texas. It's warm during the day, but it gets pretty chilly at night. So, happy Saturday to me. Actually, yesterday was Saturday. Today I say happy Sunday. There we go. Right. So, everything sounds all well and good, but how does that worth showing up later because of what happened in Detroit. Well, luckily, on our way to Detroit, it's just over a 3-hour flight, so we're able to watch, a movie because complimentary headphones and stuff like that. So able to watch a movie. So, what movie did I finally? So I finally got to see one movie that, admittedly, I'm ashamed I never saw this movie in the theater. But I am so glad I saw it at all. And you know what? Seeing it on a plane at certain points really enhanced the experience. I finally saw Spider-Man No Way Home. Let's talk about that, shall we? Well, obviously, I really can't talk about that movie without talking about the part that pretty much everyone ruined, which is the fact that all 3 Spider-Men from all 3 incarnations of the Spider-Man movies, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland, were in the same movie. And yeah, that's, oh, sorry. I'm doing my NFL thing, so my laptop over there for a second. Where was I? Right. That's probably the greatest thing I've seen on any kind of screen ever. Just seeing Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland, even with them being together for something, that's incredible. And trust me, this is where I'm going to be getting into spoilers. So the movie starts off where Far From Home leaves off, where the world now knows who Spider-Man is. And while he's not in trouble with the law or anything, it's really messing up the lives of everyone he knows and loves. So he goes to Doctor Strange, and he has a spell occur to make sure everyone forgets who he is, but he doesn't want everyone. He wants his Aunt May and Happy Hogan and his friends, including MJ. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the friends' name. I am so sorry. And the spell screws up, and now multiple enemies from multiple universes of previous Spider-Man are now in Tom Holland's Spider-Man's universe in the MCU. So Dr. Octopus, played by Alfred Molina, Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, Jamie Foxx's Electro, everyone. Pretty much every big movie villain that Spider-Man has had on the big screen in the last 20 years was in this movie. And this is literally the dream that everyone wanted to see. Especially since, for years, there was basically one of the problems why Spider-Man 3 and Amazing Spider-Man 2 had the problems that they had was because there was too many characters, specifically trying to recreate the Insidious Six. If you don't know who the Insidious Six are, they're basically 6 of Spider-Man's most powerful villains all teaming up, which is a really cool idea. Villains teaming up, who doesn't like that? I mean, really, villains banding together, even for banter, kind of like what the Spider-Man were doing. Who doesn't love that? And not just for Spider-Man either. Anyone who's ever seen Batman the Animated Series will tell you that the greatest episode of that show is Almost Got Him. Because it's literally all of Batman's villains. Joker, Penguin, Poison Ivy, Killer Croc, Two-Face. They're all just sitting at a table playing cards. And that's all they're doing. But through it all, they're talking about how they almost got to kill Batman. What? Because it's just the villains just talking and interacting with each other. That's cool. We don't really get to see stuff like that very often. So it's really interesting that, wow, this This feels kind of home. So sorry, my arms are getting kind of tired laying on my knees like that. So my point is, if you've ever been a Spider-Man fan at all, you know, it really is as if this movie was made for you. And I should probably get into, well, I could really tell you what my favorite scene of the movie is, but I pretty much already gave it away. It's the fact that all three Spider-Man were together. Anytime you see all three Spider-Man together interacting or fighting, technically the Insidious 5, but I get where they were going here. Like, that was great. Although one scene that does come close, and I credit this solely to the fact that as this scene was going on, the plane was taking off. Because we were on our plane for a little while before we actually took off, and I started the movie early. As the plane is taking off, the scene I'm watching is the scene that you see in the trailer where Spider-Man is fighting where Tom Holland is fighting Dr. Octopus. So the plane is taking off like, and meanwhile, you're watching this awesome battle on a bridge. I'm like, yes! Oh my, seriously. And for whatever reason, you're able to see Spider-Man No Way Home on a plane, do it. Because, like, sometimes action scenes happen and turbulence happens. It's really cool. Like, it really feels like you're there. It was so cool. Okay. So, of the scenes where all three Spider-Men are together, I think the best scene for me is, and this is where we're getting to spoilers, where Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are consoling Tom Holland for the fact that he just lost Aunt May. And they're talking about their experiences, whether it was Andrew Garfield losing, Gwen and it made him, bitter. And, Tobey Maguire getting the revenge he wanted, but it didn't make him feel better. Like, this really is a generational shift in a way, in which, when you're in trouble and you're going through an experience in which I can only just imagine how it feels, the best people you could ever talk to are those. I mean, talking your feelings is always the best medicine to me. I've always felt like, sharing your feelings or elaborating on your feelings, I've always felt that's the best medicine. Well, one of the best medicines, obviously. But it's truly best to do that with those who would know what you're going through. And only Spider-Man would know what Spider-Man is going through. So this was a really clever way to do that. And it was great. And normally the way that this movie ended was, the universe is starting to implode, and the only way to really fix it is if Tom Holland suggests to Doctor Strange, can't you just, make everyone in the world forget who I am, who Spider-Man is? He's like, yeah, I can, but I don't want you to do that because here's the thing, Tom Holland knows that the Insidious 6, in this case, they're going to go back to die. He doesn't want that to happen. He's legit trying to do the right thing throughout this movie. And it kind of leads to some really bad stuff happening. But you see the nobility is there. Or, trying to be kind. Because whether or not you like Spider-Man, you can't deny that he is a hero. He is. Speaking of which, I have to point out, they could recast anyone in the Spider-Man universe for these movies. They should never recast J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson. Because outside of the three Spider-Men, he was my favorite character in the movie. It's J.K. Simmons, homie. What are you talking about? I mean, Whiplash, Invincible, the yellow M&M. Are you kidding me? Like, what? Yes, he is the yellow M&M in those commercials. Ford from Gravity Falls. I mean, J.K. Simmons is the man. We all know this. So basically, the movie ends with everyone, for not knowing who Spider-Man is. Aunt May is dead. Even Happy Hogan doesn't remember who Spider-Man is anymore. So, in a way, for me, and if this sounds really kind of cynical, I'm sorry, but I really thought that that's what Tom Holland's Spider-Man needed. Because one thing you could never take away from either Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man or Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is that, yeah, it hit the usual suspects. Tragedy befalls them. For the most part, they're all alone, unless there's anyone they want to know them who Spider-Man is. He's living, on his own, trying to get through life, just like anyone else does. And that's what Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire was like for me. That's why, in the beginning, I gravitated more towards either one of them than Tom Holland. Because not only is Tom Holland a much younger iteration of Spider-Man than, Tobey Maguire's or Andrew Garfield's was, it's the fact that because of how the MCU wound up being, and, Tony Stark giving him everything he wanted, it's not that he was spoiled, because he still had his own fair share of problems, but I never felt the tragedy or the utter feeling of loneliness that comes from being Spider-Man, or really any great hero, for being honest. At the end of this movie, again, no one knows that Tom Holland's Peter Parker is Spider-Man. No one is around to help him. Aunt May is dead. Happy Hogan doesn't remember him. MJ and the friend don't remember him either. He's an orphan now. When this movie made the title of No Way Home, they legit meant it. Because with Aunt May being the only legit family he had, they hinted Uncle Ben a little, but Aunt May was meant to be the tragedy for this iteration of Spider-Man, apparently. Tom Holland's Peter Parker has no way home. He doesn't. The only thing he can do now is rebuild his life. The movie ends with him getting an apartment where he has to pay rent. He can't go to MIT anymore, so he has to take a GED test, be on his own. But that's the sacrifice you make when it comes to being a hero. And the future could not be more uncertain for this iteration of Spider-Man. But, and this is where I said I was sorry I'm cynical, that's what made Spider-Man so effective for everyone. It's because Spider-Man, at the end of the day, yes, he had superpowers. He can do, Spider-Man does anything that a spider can. He can do that. But at the end of the day, he was just a regular guy, just like you or me. He has his own fair share of problems. He has to balance, a work life, he's going to school, all that stuff. And on top of that, he is a superhero, in which you have J. Jonah Jameson and the Daily Bugle, or not Daily Bugle, Daily Bugle. For a second, I almost said Daily Planet, but that's Superman. In the Daily Bugle, ridiculing Spider-Man for all the heroics that he does, because there's always going to be somebody out there that thinks these heroes are menaces to society. And that's true. The reason why Spider-Man works is because of all that. He is a regular guy, just like you and me, trying to make it through life one day at a time. And, pardon the language, I fucking loved this movie. I did. I mean, I never thought I was ever going to say this. Especially since because technically, this is, part of the MCU. And I already put the MCU, because, I do the whole S tier thing. The MCU is on S tier because of Avengers Endgame. All I can say is, looks like the MCU has another inductee. Has its second inductee. Because No Way Home is S tier for me. You know what? I'll say it as well. I mean, Into the Spider-Verse was great and funny, but it took advantage of the fact that it was animated and you got away with doing a lot of really great action scenes. And if that's your jam, and if you think Into the Spider-Verse is better than Spider-Man No Way Home, I get it. In fact, for me, it's actually a legit toss-up. Because if I'm looking for, again, the fact that the movie takes advantage of the fact that it is animated, as well as, action-oriented with a little bit of comedy and tragedy, and you're able to use that animation to show and not tell and convey, everything going on and get away with a lot of great action scenes, I get that. But when it comes to a movie with the same kind of scope and magnitude as Into the Spider-Verse, but only live action, Spider-Man No Way Home is the best you're going to get. There is no will probably or is probably. No, it is. This is one of the best movies I think I've ever seen in my entire life. Right up there with Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 and Avengers Endgame. I never thought I'd put another movie on here, but here we are. And again, let's be real here. There's no way the MCU is going to have Spider-Man, Tom Holland's iteration of Spider-Man end like this. There's got to be more. Obviously, there was the credit scene where, a tiny piece of the Venom symbiote because, hey, Tom Hardy was in the movie for a little bit. That's there, so that opens up something. But there's no way that this is the end for Tom Holland's Spider-Man. But again, it just adds to the uncertainty. We don't know what's going to happen next. And that's what I love. That's what I loved about this movie. Man. Spider-Man No Way Home. You got me. This is, yeah, I gotta think it over a little bit because Into the Spider-Verse exists, and Across the Spider-Verse Part 1 is coming soon. But this is the best Spider-Man movie for me. It is. It's a bit of a stretch to simply call it my favorite movie of all time, mind you. Because that would largely depend on what specifically you're asking. But man, in terms of the experience, the fact that, honestly, listen, I spent the night in Detroit when I really shouldn't have. My day could really only go up from there. And the fact that, I never got to see this movie in the theater because of the whole pandemic thing and everything. This is worth the experience and more. Go see Spider-Man. If you've never seen Spider-Man No Way Home, just do it. Do yourself a favor and do it. You'll be glad you did. So, before I sign off, I have some NFL picks to make. That's why I got my computer right here. Okay, let's see if I can, Okay, so I got the game this past, okay, yeah. So I already 1-0 going into this one. Actually, hold on a second. Do I, okay, so, 1 and 0. There you go. Okay, so, yeah, so, okay. So, my picks today. The Colts versus the Patriots. I'm picking the Patriots. Let's see. Probably very unbecoming I'm saying like this. Hold on. There. Dangle my feet a little bit. There we go. For the record, I was actually very comfortable sitting like I was. Just, you can't really see. You gotta keep the camera on the talent, you know. Okay, so I'm picking the Patriots, Packers, and Lions. Look, both teams are doing absolutely terrible, but I can expect Aaron Rodgers to beat the Lions at least. The Chargers and the Falcons. I'm picking the Chargers. Bills and Jets. Of course I'm picking the Bills. Although the Jets are doing pretty well. Surprisingly. Vikings and Commanders. Yeah, I'm picking the Vikings. That's easy to do. Panthers and Bengals. Bengals. Raiders and Jaguars. Okay, you know, I'm not picking the Jaguars again. Let's go Raiders. That actually reminds me. Horseheads lost to Vestal. Yeah. I'll talk about that in a second. Dolphins and Bears. Dolphins. That's an easy one. Seahawks and Cardinals. Seahawks. Rams and Bucks. You know what? I'm not picking the Bucks again. I'm going with the Rams. The Titans and Chiefs tonight. I'll tell you what, if the Chiefs lose, I'm picking the Chiefs, but if they lose, I think the wheels are going to start to fall off for Patrick Mahomes. But I'm going to pick the Chiefs anyway. So those are my NFL picks. So my picks are the Patriots, the Packers, the Chargers, the Bills, the Vikings, the Bengals, the Raiders, the Dolphins, the Seahawks, the Rams, and the Chiefs. So there you go. Now, before I end this video, you know, I just mentioned that, you know, Horseheads just lost. So now football season is over for them. And obviously the way that everything was structured yesterday, I wasn't able to do this, so I'll do it now. For those who are seniors at Horseheads, I am very sorry that, you know, your final year at Horseheads ended the way it did. In terms of, you know, your football season, that is. I mean, you guys have a little ways to go before you can actually graduate. But I'm sorry the season didn't wind up, you know, being the way you wanted. But you should be very proud that you dedicated so much time and effort into the sport you love. And regardless of what happened this season, no one could ever take all that hard work away from you. You know, don't let what wound up happening this season define your life. Because you have so much more to look forward to. I mean, again, you're graduating, you have senior prom, you know, you have winter sports coming up if you do that, you know, like wrestling and basketball and stuff. You know, you've got so much to look forward to. And so much to offer. And if you remember that, your guys are going to be okay. I mean, well, here's the thing. What I just said, that's what my football coach told me my final game when I was at Horseheads, when we lost to Binghamton in the sectional division round, or sectional playoff. So now I'm going to say what my coach said to me when I was a junior, to all the other underclassmen who are at Horseheads that are going to be coming back next year or going up to play varsity next year. If you want to win the damn thing, and he said it exactly like my coach said, exactly like that. If you want to win the damn thing, stay competitive in the off season. You know, go to the weight room as much as you can. Or you know what would be even better? Do another sport. Again, you know, winter sports are coming up. Basketball, track, indoor track, wrestling. You know, in the spring, you know, you have baseball and lacrosse and outdoor track. Like, stay competitive. You gotta stay hungry if you want to be successful in any athletic endeavor you do. Or if you're not doing a sport, you know, go out running as much as you can. Stay in shape. You know, go to the weight room, build muscle, like something. Because, you know, fall is going to be here before you know it. You never think that the next year is going to happen, but it winds up happening anyway. So, stay hungry, stay competitive, make good choices throughout the year though, okay? Like, success starts when you put the effort as soon as possible. You know, start eating right, start going to bed early and on time, getting your 8 hours as often as you can. You know, but stay focused on your schoolwork. Y'all got schoolwork to do now. And trust me, football is a sport that will help build character, but not just on the field, but off it. When I was at Trinity-Pawling, we had a saying called "drop the hammer." And yes, it was mostly used for, you know, doing sports, you know, whether it was cross country or football or whatever. But dropping the hammer can apply to outside, to off the field as well. Specifically, working hard in school and making the right choices. And if you learn how to drop the hammer off the field, you can do it on the field too. And when you're able to do both, life becomes, well, I can't really say life becomes easy, because that's not fair to say. No matter what you do, life is always going to be hard and bitter and painful. But I tell you what, you're able to drop the hammer on and off the field, it becomes less so. And you'd be surprised how much better that is. Those are my 2 cents on that. So, yeah, this is a big video. And I'm glad I did it. Just like I hope you all liked this video. If you did, like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on social media. As always, I am very humbled I made this video. For all of you guys who watch and enjoy for today. Hopefully you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Sunday. I've got a wedding to go to. I'm ready to go. Well, actually, the wedding's not going to be until 4. I got to change out of this outfit. I'm actually wearing my shirt for church this morning underneath this jersey. I will take a photo of that really soon. And remember, if you guys want to talk, Jimbo is going to be here to lend an ear. I'll always have your back. Take care and make good choices. I don't know what the zip code for Brenham, Texas is. Yeah, I'm actually in Brenham, in Washington County, which is the birthplace of Texas. Yeah, seriously, this is where like the Declaration of Independence for the state of Texas was signed. Pretty cool history fact, huh? So I don't know what the zip code is, but the zip code I'm representing is the 607. All day, baby. Take care.